that it breaks the ice. Actually, it's a good way to have the students at least familiarize themselves with 3 or 4 of their fellow classmates, where they're coming into a speech class where, you know, let's face it, a bulk of them are very anxious about getting up and doing an individual presentation, which is where we're going right now. And so the group project really is a good way that they can get in, they talk about something that's fun, hopefully, an embarrassing moment that was fun, and from that get the feeling that they have a support group with at least those 3 or 4 other individuals, and hopefully that will lead on to, once they get up for their individual presentation toward the latter part of the semester, that they still have that support group that's sitting out there, kind of the ringers of the audience, that will give them positive feedback throughout the thing. And I found that just breaks down one of the problem areas to some extent. Probably one of the funniest I just had recently was the young lady who had a horrible crush on a young man and was invited to go to a carnival and go on a roller coaster ride with this young man that she had a crush on. And unfortunately had eaten an entire sponge cake prior to the ride. You can see where that's going. And so they were on the middle of the ride, got off the ride, and he asked her what was wrong, and she says, "Are you not feeling well?" She goes, "No," and literally the sponge cake ended up on him. And he says, "Don't give me your number, I'm not calling you."
One component of the group project in the British literature class is that they have to then submit, to me only, an evaluation of the other members of the group. So even though it's a group project, all members of the group may not receive the same grade based on my assessment of how much each student participated in that project. I do that to relieve some of the negative associations with group work, and that if there's somebody who doesn't participate, then they get the same grade as those who did all of the work. So it's an effort to equalize the group nature of the project.
So for my applied class, I just want to give the students, or like to give the students, as many opportunities as I can for them to see what we're doing in a lecture in a practical way. And I find using group work is a good way to do that, where they can collaborate their ideas. So one of those exercises is using M&Ms for them to see what the difference in a proportion is, or the claim somebody makes about a proportion. So basically what we are looking at is the Mars, the company that manufactures M&Ms, says that 24% of all the M&Ms they make are blue. And so the students themselves get a sample of M&Ms in their groups, and they actually try to test that claim that the company makes about 24% of their M&Ms being blue, using the data that they collect from their own M&M samples that they have.
What kind of feedback do you get from students?
Well, I get great feedback. Every time I've done something with group work, the comments that I get have always been, I've never really had any negative comments to this, to be honest. And whether it's with the M&Ms exercise or another group activity, we do many throughout the semester. They say to me things like, one, they could see it in a practical sense. Two, it helps them get ready for their exams also, because as they're walking through this process or problem solving, it helps them a lot with getting ready for exams. And I also post my solutions to the assignment a couple of days after, so that they can look at it and also study from that and things like that. So, but yeah, I've always gotten positive feedback from the students in this.
Group work is a very important part of what I do. I teach philosophy, so critical thinking and conceptual, walking them through how to do conceptual thought.
All right, so you all go ahead and pick which one you're going to start with. Whether we're starting with painting or sculpting. So whichever one you choose, let's suppose we start with painting. Then what you'll go around and do is each person will talk about the thing they thought was the what or what. Interesting to you or important to the moving along of the story or the scene. So whether it moves along his painting or whether it moves along his sculpting, right? So you're going to first do that category by category, exhaust it, and then I'll give you the next instruction.
I recognize, one, that in order for each person to be able to express, talk through, and work through ideas, you have to separate them into smaller groups, because I have relatively large classes. Smaller groups where I'm both monitoring and directing what's happening, but also giving the opportunity for each one of them to have a conversation.